I am Precious Balogun. Welcome to another interesting English language class. Today we'll be looking at a very interesting topic titled Continuous Writing, Descriptive Writing, with the theme Literacy Skills, Writing for Communication. By the end of the lesson, you should be able to express yourself clearly through a descriptive composition. Writing is an important aspect of English language, and the main purpose of writing is to pass on a clear message to the readers or to the targeted audience. Now, this can be effectively done by having the reader's interest in mind and also the right use of words. Don't forget, there are different types of writing, but today our focus will be on the descriptive writing. Now, let's take a look at what the descriptive writing is all about. A descriptive writing gives a clear image of what is being described by a writer. Now, the writer can decide to describe a person, a place, or a thing. The writer engages our sense organs to the extent that we can feel and sense all that is being described by the writer. Now, let's go on to see what this descriptive writing is all about. The main purpose of a descriptive writing is for the readers to be able to recognize or identify what the writer is trying to describe. Now, emphasis is placed on the qualities and characteristics of a person, thing, or place rather than action in a descriptive writing. So that makes the difference between a descriptive writing and a narrative writing. The narrative writing has to do with telling a story, so talking about action, while a descriptive writing emphasizes on the qualities and characteristics of a particular thing, person, or place. Now, let's look at some examples of topics we can see for a descriptive writing. We have my best friend, and we also have preparing my favorite dish. Now, let's look at some things that we should consider before writing a descriptive composition. It is important to note that you can only describe things that you are familiar with or you have seen. Therefore, we must cultivate the habit of carefully observing things or places or persons so as to be able to give a clear picture or image of what you want to describe. Let's go on to see another fact. When writing a descriptive composition, it is important that we think of who or what we want to describe before writing. So when we get our topic, the next thing you have to do is to brainstorm on the topic. Ask yourself some questions. Questions relating to the physical characteristics, the location, and so on. So we must know, are you writing about a person, an object, or a place? Also, before we write, we must make sure we use figurative and descriptive language. Here, we don't just tell stories, we describe. And how do we do that? We engage the sense organs of the readers. And this can be done through the use of figurative languages like imagery, simile, and metaphor. By so doing, the readers can sense and visualize what is being described. Now, let's take a look at the use of these figurative languages. An example of imagery is Alfred Tennyson's Summer Night. And like a ghost, she glimmers unto me. Now lies the earth of all them to the stars, and all thy heart lies open unto me. Now slides the silent metal on, and leaves a shining furrow as thy thoughts in me. Now folds the lily all her sweetness up, and slips into the bosom of the lake. So fold thyself, my dearest, thou, and slip into my bosom and be lost in me. This is an example of imagery because Tennyson makes use of words that can help us visualize what he is trying to describe. Now, let's take a look at how we can write a descriptive composition. In writing a descriptive composition, we must first start with the general information of what we want to describe, whether we are describing a person, a place, or a thing, followed by a detailed description of what we want to describe. Now, let's take a look at an example. For example, if I want to talk about my best friend, this is how I will go about it. Olana has been my friend since my childhood. We also went to the same school. She is a beauty to behold. Dark hair, brown eyes, caramel skin. She has a heart of gold, and that is why I love her. You would notice that I started with the general information of my friend, followed by a detailed description of my friend, saying she has dark hair, brown eyes, and caramel skin. Secondly, we organize what we want to describe in a chronological manner, which is a step-by-step order. Then, we try to explain each part or describe each part in detail and then put these parts together to make a whole. Now, let's take a look at an example. For example, when we are trying to describe our school playground, we can start by describing the various parts of the playground, then the things we find in the playground, and also what you think about the playground. Also, you can write your thoughts about the playground. Having known how to write a descriptive composition, let's take a look at an example of a descriptive composition. How to cook Nigerian jollof rice. Nigerian jollof rice is a very rich and tasty West African meal. It is a versatile dish made from rice, fresh tomatoes, fresh peppers, tomato paste, onions, salt, and other spices. Jollof rice is one of the most commonly eaten dishes in the whole of West Africa. Although these West African countries have their own methods of preparing this meal, this delicious meal is not expensive and very easy to make. When cooking jollof rice, you must take these processes one after another. To give your meal a distinct taste and an alluring aroma, you will start by using a relatively small amount of oil in a shallow pan over a relatively high heat to fry your chopped onions for about 3 to 5 minutes. Next, you stir fry the tomato paste for about 5 minutes. This adds a rich tomato flavor. Then, add your chopped ginger and garlic and cook along with the tomato paste for another 2 minutes. This alone will change the aroma of your kitchen. Now, add your blended pepper for it to fry. When you notice that the sauce has really become thick and the oil is literally floating on the top of the sauce, add your different spices like curry, thyme, salt, and seasoning cubes. Now, you can add your properly washed or parboiled rice and stir properly. Then add the chicken stock and stir again. Cover the lid of your pot and allow the rice to boil. When the rice is done, serve hot. I believe from this writing, you saw what I explained under before you write and how to write a descriptive composition. Now, we have come to the end of this class, but before we go, let's take a quick summary of all we've learned so far. We've learned that a descriptive composition is a type of writing that gives a clear picture of the object, place, person, and events being described. We also learned that the main purpose of a descriptive writing is to make the reader recognize what you have described. And lastly, we learned that to write a descriptive composition, give a general information of the person, place, or thing you want to describe, followed by a detailed description. Having known all this, let's take a quick test. Question 1. What are the things to consider before writing a descriptive composition? A. Be familiar with what you want to describe and think about it. B. Consider the actions and intriguing moments of the story. C. Identify the plot elements and characterization. Or D. Summarize everything you know about a story. And the correct answer is A. Be familiar with what you want to describe and think about it. Question 2. What is the best way to write a descriptive composition? A. Give a general information followed by a detailed description. B. Give the storyline and plot structure of the story. C. Engage the readers in an argumentative section. Or D. Talk about the actions rather than the qualities. The correct answer is A. Give a general information followed by a detailed description. This is where I leave you for today's class. I believe by now, with all you've learned, you can write a descriptive composition. Till we meet again in our next class, see you and bye.